A rider cycles an OFO bike past other dockless bikes in Beijing. Immensely popular in their homeland, China's bike-sharing companies are now racing to expand abroad. Shirley Feng/The Washington Post Beijing, to rent a bike in China, all it takes is a phone app, and any of the millions of bicycles scattered on sidewalks everywhere can be yours. No bike stand. No drop-off point. You scan a code, you ride, you leave and lock the bike wherever and whenever you're done. China's billion-dollar bike-sharing revolution has already transformed the look and feel of cities around the country, with more than 100 million apps downloaded and billions of rides taken on many millions of bikes. Now it is going global. Last month, a Chinese company called OFO made its first foray into the United States, delivering 1,000 bicycles to the streets of Seattle, with plans to expand nationally. From Italy to Kazakhstan, from Britain to Japan, from Singapore, Asia's greenest city, to one of its most congested, Bangkok, OFO and its main Chinese rival Mobike are on a breakneck race to expand across the globe. Welcomed in many cities, but not by everyone, the companies are already encountering a backlash. Opponents have branded OFO and Mobike a menace, a plague and a public nuisance. Each of the two main Chinese companies has more than 7 million bikes in operation in over 150 cities, mostly in China, and each recently attracted $600 million to $700 million in new funding to finance their global expansions. Bikes are typically fitted with GPS locators to enable users to find them via the app. Payment is minimal and made electronically. Beijing, a city where bikes once ruled, has once again taken to two wheels, and most cyclists seem to use a shared bike these days. Greener and healthier to use, the bikes get commuters to and from public transit stations and discourage car use. They solve what planners call the first mile last mile problem, helping people get from their homes to a bus stop, for example, or from a subway station to their final destination. Dubbed Uber for bikes, they have proved much more popular than schemes based on docking stations. New York City Bike, with 10,000 bikes and 236,000 subscribers, is the largest operation in the United States. Compare that with Beijing, which has 700,000 shared bikes and 11 million registered users, nearly half the capital's population. Washington's Capital Bike Share program offers 3,700 bikes. Unlike arrangements based on docking stations in Washington and London, the dockless model doesn't require government subsidies and is already spawning rival startups. California's Spin and Lime bike narrowly beat OFO to the punch in Seattle after the city pulled the plug on its subsidized bike-sharing program. OFO is now advertising on its LinkedIn page for a country head based in the greater New York area, while Mobike is advertising for jobs in Dallas/Fort Worth, Chicago, San Francisco, and New York. The explosion in users speaks to their success. But they are not universally liked. In China, bikes clog sidewalks and pile up in unruly flocks outside subway stations, shopping malls, office buildings and road intersections. Unwanted or broken bikes are dumped by highways, in rivers and parks, on construction sites or under bridges. Shanghai-based blogger Mark Milian calls them a plague, while locals have taken to social media to lambaste the anarchic experiment that is creating a new generation of trash. Shanghai's government has seized thousands of illegally parked bikes. It recently called for a halt on companies putting more bikes onto the streets and asked them to work faster to remove badly parked bikes. Yet, in a country where the government puts a premium on controlling its citizens, Chinese officials have displayed a remarkably light touch with this booming new business. In guidelines issued last month, the State Council welcomed shared bikes as part of the green urban transport system, while urging local governments to ensure a rational allocation of bicycles and avoid excess supply in some areas. Unlike Uber, bike share companies haven't angered vested interests such as taxi drivers, but they may run into much stiffer opposition from regulators and citizen groups in the West. In San Francisco, China's Blue Gogo dumped 20,000 bikes onto the streets in January without permission. City Supervisor Aaron Peskin called them a public nuisance and threatened legal action against an arrogant tech company. Writing in the San Francisco Examiner, Darcy Brown of the citizens group San Francisco Beautiful called BlueGoGo a rogue company that was bringing chaos to our public spaces and posing a threat to the beauty and livability of our city. BlueGoGo said the company has since pulled its spikes from San Francisco. In Singapore, the arrival of 30,000 bikes met with mixed reactions, with some people reportedly calling them a menace. In a sense, bike sharing schemes are test